here from Sierra Sewing, Quilting, and Vacuums, and we are here today. We're going to talk about the Husqvarna Viking Designer Epic 2. Fabulous machine. All kinds of wonderful features on here. When I turn it on, the home screen immediately comes up. And most of the time, I'm in a hurry to get to my project, so I go right to the Start New menu and get right to my project, but there's all kinds of valuable information back on that home screen. So let's talk about some of those things. So when it comes up, the main thing that you see on here, it's the JoyOS, which I think stands for sewing, JoyOS Advisor, but basically that is gonna help you get started on your project. I can tell this what kind of fabric that I'm using. So I'm using quilt weight fabric, so I'm gonna pick woven medium. We'll keep it really simple. Down here it's going to ask which kind of technique. So there's all kinds of information as far as tutorials on different things. If I want to do basic sewing, if I want to do a collar, hems and edge finishes, and so on. Today we'll keep it simple. I'm going to just pick a regular seam. So it's going to give me my little disclaimer there, and then it's going to pull up the perfect stitch that I need for that technique. So if I'm doing a regular seam, it's got straight stitch in the center position. Tells me what foot that it recommends. Again, I selected woven medium, so it's going to tell me for that I'm going to use a size 80 needle. That's in the utility stitches menu. And this little symbol, it means that it suggests that I use the dual feed that comes with this machine. So down here at the bottom is this cute little window, and this is actually a tutorial as well. This just tells me a seam. I'm sewing two pieces together, and it kind of talks you through how to do that. This is really simple, so it's just the one page, but some of them are really involved, and there's several pages and sometimes a video. So this little menu here, it's down there at the bottom, but if that's in a bad spot, I can pull that up to the top. I can go to the left side, or to the right side, or I can use it full screen. Or if it's just in my way, I can minimize that altogether. Maybe. There it goes. And when I need to pull it up, I just touch my little book, and there it is back again. But for now, we'll go ahead and just leave it down there at the bottom. However, underneath that is some other information that you might need. So down here, I'm going to minimize that. So that tells me my needle position is in the center, the stitch length 2.5, that's my tension, just basic information. Okay, so now I've finished my woven medium seam. The next thing I'm going to sew is like a heavy sweatshirt fleece. So I'm going to go back to my home screen, and now I'm going to tell it I am using a heavy stretch fabric. Okay, same seam. And again, it's going to pop up. This time, see, notice it changed the stitch. So this isn't just a straight stitch for a sweatshirt fabric. This is what I call the lightning bolt stitch. So it does kind of like a little half zigzag. It's still considered a straight stitch because it's going to end up being straight, but it's got a little bit of give. So if I stretch my fabric, that seam's not going to pop. So here, notice the needle also changed. So now it's recommending a 90 stretch needle. Also in the utility, also it's recommending the IDT. But when I minimize my little tutorial down here, there it goes. So this tells me that the needle position, it's not in the center anymore, it's on the left side of that foot, and that's in position 1 point, or that's the width of the stitch is 1.2, and the length same. This is my tension. So here, just a little side note, the width of my stitch is 1.2. I can make it wider if I want to. I probably don't want to if I'm just sewing a straight stitch on sweatshirt fleece. So I'll put it back. But notice there's a little toggle button here. If I pull that down, now I can move the position of that to the left or to the right of that, and it's not going to make the stitch any wider or narrower. It just moves the position on my throat plate, which is kind of cool. All right. Oops, I did not want that. So I'm going to go back to my home screen. I finished sewing my straight stitch. Now, same stretch heavy, but this time I want to do a buttonhole. So I'm going to come down here, and this is going to be my little tutorial sheet for my buttonhole. So notice there's 4 pages on that. So the first page kind of gives an overview of what we're going to be doing. I slide over, it's going to tell me the supplies that I'm going to need to do that buttonhole. And then it's going to walk me through step by step on just how that's going to stitch out. And here at the end is actually a little video that's going to walk you through it. And we won't take the time to play that whole thing. But again, it tells me on a stretch heavy, that's the needle that it recommends in the utility menu. This time, the dual feed symbol is gone, and it tells me that I'm going to need stabilizer behind that. So anyway, again, just lots of fun information that's all in that screen. So that was just really basic for sewing. There's also a set of techniques for quilting. So you've got applique, piecing, quilting, free motion quilting, binding, and so on. Another whole set of information for embroidery. You've got basic embroidery, applique embroidery, quilting, freestanding lace. And then over here is your knowledge center. So all kinds of good stuff in here. There's a stabilizer guide. Who hasn't been confused on the different kinds of stabilizers and why I would use one as opposed to another? So I can go in here and I say, let's look at tearaways. What kind of tearaway do I need? And it's going to give me information on all the different tearaways. I've got a section for cutaways, specialty. So again, all kinds of valuable information. My quick start guide here. This is how I'm going to set up for my machine. So if I forget what I need to do to wind a bobbin, I can just go to this wind a bobbin thing, and it's going to walk me through step by step, and again, a little video on how I would actually do that. So that's a wonderful feature. Sewing instructions, so different techniques on that as well. If different projects, so again, all kinds of valuable information that I think people don't utilize enough. Also, wonderful thing here, the actual user guide, or sometimes called the manual, is built into this machine. So when I touch this little book here that has the little magnifying glass on it, it pulls up the user's guide. And all I have to do, go in here to the index and tell it, okay, I'm looking for something in the sewing department, and it's going to give me all the categories that are listed just as it's in your actual user's guide. So that's a wonderful feature just built into your machine. Again, all kinds of fun little techniques and tutorials. This machine is very smart, and it's going to help you do the best job on your project that you can.